have to either see or hear to believe that they're actually true. The feds are recommending a 1-day sentence for ex-LMPD officer in the Breonna Taylor murder. Tyrone Bowman, live. So let's talk about this article right here. The Department of Justice is recommending a 1-day sentence for ex-Louisville Metro Police Department officer Brett Hankerson, who fired 10 shots into Breonna Taylor's apartment in March 2020 during a botched police raid of her home. Hankerson was found guilty of violating Taylor's rights at the conclusion of a November jury trial. He was acquitted of violating the rights of Taylor's neighbors. Despite facing several years in prison for the verdict ahead of a sentencing next week, federal prosecutors suggested he only served 1 day and received time served for his conviction last year. I told you in the earlier video that when police officers, especially when they murder, kill, shoot, whatever they want to call it, black people, especially like this guy did, he came into the apartment, the raid was botched. Breonna Taylor was viciously shot by this down ex-officer. And they want him to serve 1 day in prison so they can make sure he gets an unconditional parole and pardon. That's what this is gunning for, ultimately. And he'll be paroled because they don't want to accept any culpability for anything. I guess they're trying to still justify why this murder took place. In a sentencing memorandum filed Wednesday, prosecutors asked Judge Rebecca Grady Jennings to consider the 1-day sentence in addition to 3 years supervised release and a $100 fine. A mistrial was declared during a previous trial in October 2023 for Hankerson after a jury could not reach a unanimous verdict on the charges. Why? Seriously, why couldn't that all-white jury reach a unanimous verdict on the charges? If that situation had been reversed and that was a black officer who murdered a white woman in a botched raid and shot her 10 times, there's no hesitation. He would have been charged with first-degree murder or murder in the first degree and given life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. In total, Hankerson has faced 3 trials related to Taylor's shooting. 2 federal and 1 state. He was acquitted in a state court. In their sentencing memorandum, federal prosecutors acknowledged Hankerson would never own a firearm or work in law enforcement again. That's a lie. Yes, he will. Because he's going to get a full pardon. His record will be wiped clean. Everything will be sealed. Police broke down the door of Taylor's Springfield Drive apartment after midnight on March 13, 2020, in an attempt to execute a search warrant. Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, later said he thought the police were intruders breaking in, and he fired a shot at them with a legally owned gun, hitting one officer in the leg. Hankerson testified at the trial that he moved around the corner of the apartment building and fired shots into Taylor's unit, according to the AP. He fired 10 rounds, but none of them hit anyone. 2 additional officers returned Walker's firearm from the doorway, hitting and killing Taylor. They were not charged because prosecutors said the use of force was justified in response, and the shot fired at them. Let me correct myself because I said Breonna Taylor was shot 10 times. That is a misquote on my part. When I make mistakes, I'll be making sure that I'm quick to acknowledge them. So I'll keep you updated on what's happening round and about around the country. Never surrender, never quit.